Oh my god, a Beyblade? Holy cow.
Hey guys, check out my new toy. You guys know that Beyblades actually still exist, man? These used to be the coolest things, and it really is kind of a miracle that they were able to market and brand these things as cool, because they're essentially dreidels, right? Well, anyway, let's give this thing a shot. 3, 2, 1, okay, no! No! Oh! No! Oh! Well, shoot. It looks like I lost my Beyblade. Well, it's a good thing I happened to bring my portable TV, my PlayStation 1 Mini, my GameCube, and this pink translucent Game Boy Advance that I found in a Detroit airport. So I can enjoy my Beyblade on the go without the actual toy. How cool is that, right?
First, let's take a look at Beyblade Let Rip for the PlayStation. You can name your character, choose boy or girl. Not that it really matters, because it's not like it does anything other than change whose portrait is in the corner of the screen. There's no interactable world or anything, just a static menu where you can choose to do a tournament or free battle. This is one of the most pathetic packages imaginable, because they took the concept of Beyblade far too literally. This is like an accurate simulation of what it's like to play with the actual toys. As in 3, 2, 1, let it rip! And then you have no control over what happens. The D-pad doesn't do shit. X, square, triangle, circle, all nothing. And to make things worse, my Beyblade kept flying out of the stadium. Playing these in real life is fun because of the whole adrenaline of the thing. When there's a physical object in front of you and you can feel the bumps and ebbs and flow to something tactile, Beyblades doing their thing in real life, grinding up against each other, is cool. Beyblades doing their thing in a video game, however, is lame as hell, and it exposes a real challenge if you're going to adapt to this property. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you're provided a solid foundation in the form of an intricate trading card game. Beyblades are just spinning tops. If you make a game where the only interactive ability is customizing your parts, then controlling a power meter before you launch your top into the arena, you've made one of the lamest video games in history. You need to play up their abilities a little, or at least allow you to move these things around, because actually playing with Beyblades in real life doesn't translate well at all. In short, they need to video gamify it a little bit. And they recognized this because Let It Rip received a direct sequel exclusive to the GameCube in the form of Super Tournament Battle. It's mostly the same game, but instead of a menu screen, you control this little chibi avatar in some kind of a foyer area. It's functionally the same as the PlayStation's menu. The little things like this go a long way when your game is as simple as spinning tops. There's still no story mode or anything like that, it's just free battle or tournament. The big difference with this game is you can actually control your Beyblades. The analog stick moves you around, and you can gain special moves which you activate by pressing B. Allow me to pull the curtain back a little bit on this segment. I had to rewrite it, because as a kid I had this game and could never figure out how to play it. No matter what I did, I would always lose. My health would always go down way faster than my opponents, and I was never able to win a single match back then. Tournament mode, free play, it didn't matter which character I picked, what Beyblade I was using. This game might as well have been impossible. Then, fast forward to now as an adult, going back to it, I still could not for the life of me figure it out. So I did the logical thing and looked up tips online, and wasn't really able to find anything helpful there either. I played the game on my actual GameCube, tried 7 matches, lost every single one, and then wrote this whole part centered around how the game is fucking impossible. But then something funny happened, because later on, when I booted up the game in Dolphin to capture footage, I actually managed to figure it out, and even finished the entire game, to my shock. It took an hour and 20 minutes, by the way. That's my New Year's resolution, more 1-hour games. And by figured out how to play the game, it felt more like a cheese than the legitimate way its developers intended me to play the game, but hey, Many roads lead to Rome, as they say. Or planes, as we'll see later. What you need to do is fill up your special meter, then wait around until your opponent is close to the edge of the arena, then use your special and it knocks them out of the ring every single time. Man, I was nearly unstoppable after figuring this out, and it was kind of cathartic wrecking terror all over this game, which has gotten the better of me for years. The ending is nothing special, you're just declared the champion or whatever.
You're the winner! The prize is yours! Congratulations!
Then the credits roll. Beyblade's Super Tournament Battle is not very good, but compared to the PS1 game, it's a masterpiece. I enjoyed the music, and I love the announcer's energy.
Oh no! It failed! Feel the shock of the collision!
The one in the PlayStation game sounded so unenthusiastic.
Let it rip! What a great launch! What a great launch!
3, 2, 1, let it rip! Go! This is a powerful launch! Hey, come on! What a great launch!
A huge improvement here. The last thing I want to comment on is that it's incredibly cute how pictures of real-life Beyblades are the main reward unlockables. This game is from 2002, and I know I sure as hell did not have internet access back then, so this would have been actually cool if I had been good enough to unlock any of them, but I wasn't, so I didn't. Like, hey kids, collect them all, don't these look cool? Go get your parents to buy more Beyblades. Next up is the Game Boy Advance, but not the RPG. We have a smaller fish to fry first. What if I told you that there's a Beyblade game modeled after Marble Madness of all things? Or maybe Monkey Ball's a more apt comparison, and it's actually pretty good. It's a simple concept. You control a Beyblade attempting to navigate through these isometric obstacle courses. In between each stage are these story cutscenes, which are a little confusing because they seem to imply that these Beyblade obstacle courses are stand-ins for fights, or Beyblade duels, or whatever it's called when two Beybladers fight, but that's clearly not what's going on here. We're just going through this obstacle course. Sure, once in a while there will be opponents on the obstacle course, but it's not like these are stand-ins for the enemies in the cutscenes. It's isometric, so the controls take a minute to get used to. They play by Q*bert rules, so ideally in this situation, I like to rotate my controller 45 degrees so the arrows are facing in the direction you move, but if you're playing on a Game Boy Advance, this is easier said than done. Anyway, if you grew up with Marble Madness as one of your, 12 NES games, then this Beyblade game is fairly easy by comparison. There are 49 stages as opposed to Marble Madness's 6, and they're all much easier here. It's also incredibly forgiving. There are no lives, and if you die, you can just try again instantly. I really like this concept. I wish they made a full console game around it with Tournament Battles presentation, because you can tell this was a budget, cheaply made game, even for the Game Boy Advance. There's only a couple of songs, and every cutscene uses the exact same template of two character portraits, one on each side facing each other with its dialogue on the bottom. I don't know if these storylines are taken directly from the cartoon, because I've never watched 1 second of this show, but they're all mostly stock. Bad guy comes and does bad things. Then our heroes appear to show them the error of their ways by navigating a Beyblade through a floating video game-ass obstacle course, apparently. This is definitively the best Beyblade game I will be looking at today, and it's not particularly close. Just nice little arcade-styled fun. Took me about 2 hours to finish, which is another New Year's resolution, more 2-hour games. And strangely, there's no ending. You finish the last stage, it asks if you want to save, and then the game just kicks you back to the level select screen. Anticlimactic, but I enjoyed my evening with Beyblade V-Force for the Game Boy Advance. It's nothing spectacular, but it goes outside the literal adaptation of the actual toys, which is what this property really needs to create good video games.
And now, our feature presentation.
Beyblade G Revolution! Much like every great RPG, it begins with your parent nagging you out of bed. You play as this kid named Tyson, who I think is the protagonist of the Beyblade show. He's definitely the most prominent on all the branding. It's here we're introduced to this game's best and only entertaining character, your grandpa. Tyson, you feel me, dog? For some reason, probably because it's from the show, your grandpa speaks in the funniest suburban slang. Hey, little dude, this ain't no time to be raising the roof. I like your style, homie. You the man. Now that you're out of bed, you have to find all the individual parts of your Beyblades spread throughout the house. And holy shit, Tyson is more scatterbrained than I am. Your ripcord is in the backyard, the top on the desk, the weight disc in the drawer, launcher in the dining room. Then you talk to your grandpa again, and he goes on and on about this sword, which has been passed down from generation to generation. Now, if this were any good or even average game, at some point you would take this sword and do something cool with it. It's like Chekhov's gun. You establish this giant sword family heirloom, which is bigger than your sprite, because at some point you're going to need it, right? You show a sword on the mantelpiece, so it better get swung. But no, it's never mentioned again for the rest of the game, rendering this whole conversation pointless. This game uses a world map with predetermined locations, much like Final Fantasy Mystic Quest or Super Mario RPG, or insert other RPG which does this here. It's incredibly small, with only 10 separate locales total, and starting off you only have access to 3. Your house, which there's no real reason to go to after starting the game, the Beyblade shop, and this apartment building, outside of which I'm challenged to my first Beyblade battle. So here it is, first fight of the game, and... Wait, what? Was I too late? Was I supposed to press something? Alright, I'll get him next time. Oh, that's it! I mistimed the launch and I just lose? Wait, what? I lost my Beyblade? What? In the first fight, because I didn't know how to play the game yet, I permanently lose my starting Beyblade. What the fuck is this shit? This is like if in Pokemon, after you pick your starter and you lose the rival battle, you had to give your starter to your rival. Like, what the fuck is this? I mean, this is just an absurd premise too. Like, whenever you lose a fight at all in this game, you lose whatever Beyblade you're currently using. So I guess this means I have to go to the shop to get another one now? Oh man, what a rough way to start. So I did that, I went to the shop. Now let's try this again. Power 99, so pretty good. Wait, whoa, hold the fucking phone. Why do I start with 300 RPM on a 99% launch when the first opponent in the game starts with 746? How is this fair? The way combat works in this game is A, attacks, and B, defends. You can charge up both for added power. To my knowledge, there are no ring outs because you just bounce off the side. The health bars at the bottom theoretically would end the battle if one actually managed to deplete, but it never once happened in my playthrough. The only things which matter are your RPM number and this little circle on the inside here. That's your special meter. Once it's filled up, hold down L and R to use your special move. Anyway, in this battle, I managed to go about even with the guy, but with a 400 RPM head start, I really didn't stand a chance. So I can't beat him. He's the first guy in the game and I just can't beat him. Well, if you can't beat him, fuck him. We're not rematching. I'm just gonna go inside. This is our best friend Ray, and he gives us a tutorial on how to actually play the game, which would have been nice if I didn't just lose to this asshole twice. How about putting your tutorial, before the first opportunity to fight, so I don't begin the game losing all of my Beyblades? Next, you're given the option to challenge Ray, so sure, why not? I guess he's probably intended to be the first fight. What the fuck? 3,000? And it's not like this is some kind of friendly match, because he takes my Beyblade too. What the fuck, Ray? Win or lose, after talking to Ray, you're able to go to the park, where you get your ass kicked by everybody there because this game is fucking impossible Unless you know about one little trick, that is. At which point the game becomes trivial. All you gotta do is whenever you land an attack, quickly hit up, down, and A. And you'll do this combo where you get to attack repeatedly. Start doing this and you'll never lose again. It transforms G-Revolution from the hardest to the easiest game ever made. It's around this time I noticed how bizarre the music of this game is. Not the tracks themselves, though those are a little strange, but how the game decides what song plays and when. There are 2 battle themes and they're both fine. No real comment there. But everything else, there's a Rolodex of 5 themes that are randomly selected and play everywhere else. This includes story moments, the end credits, walking in and out of buildings. It's all purely random, and I don't think I've ever played a game like that. Normally, for example, one area would have its own theme song that plays every time you go there, and that's how it's determined, but not this game. One of 5 tracks will just play at random no matter what, and it leads to some truly ill-fitting moments and gives this whole game an aura of normality, like nothing ever really matters. At pivotal plot moments, it's strange that the same dumpy music you've been listening to the entire time just keeps on playing. Like, the end credits deserve a more grandiose theme than this, wouldn't you say? This sounds like the end of an independent art movie that finishes with the main character killing themselves or something. Not the victory theme for the new Beyblade World Champion. Oh yeah, that's the plot, by the way. There's this big worldwide Beyblade tournament, and your goal is to lead your team, the Blade Breakers, to a championship. But right before the tournament starts, 2 of your best friends quit the team. Oh no! So you're forced to team up with this kid you've been bullying the entire game. Seriously, you're so mean to this poor kid. You call him a freak show, he storms off. Then an actual freak show strolls up. The game dangles this guy over your head constantly. He'll show up, say some ominous things, play hard to get, and then disappear. The main issue with this game is that it's 95% filler. Let me give you a brief overview of how to get through this game. You go to the park, defeat all the Beybladers at the park, there's 8, which unlocks the forest. So you go there, and you have to defeat all the Beybladers in the forest, which unlocks the pool. At the pool, you get rejected by some girls, stone cold by the way. Then defeat all the Beybladers at the pool, which unlocks the Beyblade Corporation HQ. So you go there and defeat all the Beybladers at the HQ, which at this stage and from here on out, instead of single matches, everything becomes best 3 out of 5, essentially tripling the amount of work you need to do. And look at how transparent this is. The game locks you in a room with 6 stationary NPCs, not moving a fucking pixel, and in order to continue on with the game, one by one, you have to walk up to them, challenge them to a fight, then beat them all 3 times each. It's just transparent filler. It's not fun, and the battles get longer as the game goes on, because damage barely scales with RPM. You'll finish the game with around 10,000 RPM, but you're still only hitting for like 20 damage each. Late game, these fights take minutes at a time, and it really wore me down. After this room, the tournament proper starts, but it's never that simple, because you win one tournament, then the game is like, alright, good job, now we're going to fucking Rome. What? And this is what we call production value. An image of a plane with our characters speaking over it. Then bam! We're in Rome, I guess. You only see the inside of a stadium, and it's not like the Roman Colosseum or anything. It looks just like the place we were just in. The game does this a few more times. You quote-unquote go to New York and a whole bunch of other places. But they didn't make any new assets for any of these places, and you only see the inside of the stadiums. So, what's the point of this whole globetrotting thing? It's awful and just exists to stretch the game out. I get that it probably happened in the show and that's why they felt the need to include it, but in the context of this game, it just comes off as ludicrously lazy. Eventually, it's revealed that the freak show who's been stalking you was actually, well, let's let the game tell us. You still don't recognize me, do you, Tyson? Look, I don't know who you are, unless... It's been a long time, hasn't it, little brother? And my reaction to that information is... Wait, I had a brother? You know, that's a little tidbit that would have been better to set up at the beginning of the game instead of Grandpa's big dumb sword that's never mentioned again. And this could have been as simple as having a second bedroom in your house or having an NPC or two at the park say something about how you're almost as good as your brother. I don't know, just spitballing. Anything would have been better than nothing, and there's no mention of you ever having a brother before this. It just comes out of absolute nowhere. From then on, your brother has a completely different sprite, and I really don't know what his motive was disguising himself was in the first place. Well, whatever. I mean, who cares? Who cares about the stupid story in this game? I guess it's good to know that you have a brother. Doesn't affect anything. It's not like this character had any agency in the plot. He doesn't ever actually 3, 2, 1, let it rip. He never plays Beyblades in this. He has nothing to do with your success or failure, so who the heck cares? What we do care about, though, is that your best friend Ray, remember the tutorial guy who kicked my ass, quits the team for reasons that he doesn't explain. Oof. Life is rough. Everybody just quits your team. This time it means that your nerdy friend is to take his place on the team. So, as we're going on this globe-trotting adventure, we get to the final stadium, and... Holy shit! There he is! Look! He joined another team! Oh! That fucking backstabber! Bastard! Oh, man! Well, I'll show him. This is the final duel, and it's kind of a poetic ending, right? Two best friends kicked my ass at the beginning. Well, I'm gonna kick his ass in the end. I'll have the last laugh. I'm gonna have my revenge. Only he just stands there. You never fight him. He never says anything. And none of the characters acknowledge his presence. I don't even... Is this even supposed to be him, or do they just reuse his sprite? Oh, man. So you win yet another tournament, and the game throws up its arms and goes, alright, I guess you're the world champs. Credits roll, and they included the entire animation staff, you know, from the cartoon, so they last forever. Final runtime was 9 hours, 36 minutes. Which again was my New Year's resolution, to play more 9-hour games. That's good for my health. Unlike this game. This game is not good for my health. Beyblade G-Revolution is terrible. Classic example of 30 minutes of content stretched to fill more time. The battles aren't deep and they take forever. Also, forcing you to fight every last NPC in the game is a hackney shit design, and they should be ashamed for doing it. To borrow from the Pokemon example again, imagine a Pokemon game where not only are you forced to fight every trainer in the game, but some of them you need to beat best 3 out of 5. That would get old fast. It's not like I expected much, but I was still disappointed. Ugh! Oh man, these games, they're all terrible. Roar! I gotta go and get my Beyblade back. Well, shit. Well, let's go in there. There we go. Little fucking light. Ah, there it fucking is. There it is. Ah, fuck. Alright. How am I gonna do this one-handed? I'm gonna fucking play with this Beyblade. It's gonna be a good time. Okay. Fuck. Alright. Fucking, I gotta figure it out. Are we ready? Fucking. There's no way I can prop this up, is there? Okay. 3, 2. Oh, fuck. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Let it rip. Oh, there it is. It's. Okay, Beyblade sucks. As always, thank you and shout out to all of the patrons. This one was a little weird. Hope you liked it anyway. Special shout out this time to Dean Navarro. I'm sorry for spelling your name wrong. And anybody else, if I'm forgetting you or if I'm spelling your name wrong, feel free to message me about it. As always, shout out to William Robert Lee. Never trust anyone who needs a haircut. Goodbye.